You don't need more motivation, you need more discipline. At first, this statement may feel counterintuitive. After all, motivation is that rush of energy that gets you excited about a new goal, the spark that makes you believe in possibilities. But motivation, as wonderful as it is unreliable. It comes and goes. It's fleeting. Discipline, on the other hand, is your anchor, your compass, and your key to success. Motivation is like a firework, brilliant and exciting, but short-lived. Discipline is the steady flame of a candle, quietly burning, guiding you through the darkness. When we rely on motivation alone, we set ourselves up for inconsistency. How many times have you felt an initial surge of motivation, only to lose steam a few days or weeks later? That's because motivation is tied to emotion, and emotions are fickle. They rise and fall, often beyond our control. Discipline doesn't care about your feelings. It shows up every day, no matter what. Think about this: motivation gets you to the starting line, but discipline takes you across the finish line. It's easy to start something when you feel inspired. A new diet, a workout routine, a business idea, it all feels exciting at first. But what happens when the novelty wears off? What happens when the alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and you don't feel like getting out of bed? That's where discipline steps in. It's what pushes you to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. Legendary basketball coach Pat Riley once said, "Excellence is the gradual result of always striving to do better." Notice the word gradual. Success isn't a dramatic leap fueled by a burst of motivation. It's a series of small, consistent actions taken over time. Discipline is showing up for those small actions day after day, no matter how you feel. Here's the truth: discipline isn't glamorous, and it isn't always fun. It's waking up early to work on your goals when everyone else is still sleeping. It's saying no to short-term temptations for long-term rewards. It's choosing consistency over comfort, progress over procrastination. But while discipline may be hard in the moment, it's what brings you closer to the life you truly want. Imagine a professional athlete training for years to compete at the highest level. Do you think they feel motivated every single day? Of course not. There are days when they're tired, days when they doubt themselves, and days when they'd rather do anything but train. But they show up anyway. They lace up their shoes, hit the gym, and put in the work. Why? Because they're disciplined. They know that discipline, not motivation, is what creates champions. Discipline is also about making commitments to yourself and honoring them. It's easy to make promises to other people and feel guilty if you break them. But how often do we break promises to ourselves? We say we'll wake up early, eat healthier, or spend less time on our phones, but when the moment comes, we give in to excuses. Discipline is keeping your word to yourself. It's treating your own goals and dreams with the respect they deserve. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day, said Jim Rohn. This is the essence of discipline. It's not about massive leaps or dramatic changes. It's about doing the little things consistently, even when no one is watching. It's about creating habits that align with your goals and sticking to them no matter what. Now, let's be clear: discipline doesn't mean being perfect. It's not about never slipping up or never feeling tired. Discipline is about getting back on track when you do slip up. It's about resilience and persistence. It's about saying, "I didn't follow through yesterday, but today is a new day, and I'm going to show up." This mindset is far more powerful than relying on bursts of motivation that fade as quickly as they appear. One of the greatest misconceptions about discipline is that it's rigid and joyless, but in reality, discipline creates freedom. When you're disciplined, you take control of your life. You make choices that align with your values and goals rather than being a slave to fleeting emotions or external pressures. Discipline allows you to achieve the things that matter most to you, which brings a sense of fulfillment that far outweighs the temporary discomfort of effort. Discipline is also contagious. When you practice it in one area of your life, it often spills over into others. If you develop the discipline to exercise regularly, for example, you may find yourself eating healthier, being more productive at work, or managing your time better. It's a domino effect, and the momentum builds over time. You don't need to wait for motivation to strike. You don't need to feel inspired to take action. You just need to start. Take one step, no matter how small. Then take another. Before you know it, you'll have built a rhythm, and that rhythm will carry you forward. Remember, action creates momentum, not the other way around. Don't wait to feel ready. Just do it. As Jocko Willink, former Navy SEAL and author, famously said, "Discipline equals freedom." This phrase may seem paradoxical, but it's profoundly true. When you're disciplined, you're free from the chaos of indecision and the limitations of excuses. You're free to live the life you want. because you've built the habits and systems that make it possible. In the end, discipline is a choice you make every day. It's not always easy and it's not always fun, but it's always fun, but it's always worth it. So the next time you find yourself searching for motivation, stop. Look inward. Choose discipline instead. Because you don't need more motivation, you need more discipline. Motivation gets you to the gym, but discipline builds the muscle. It's a simple truth that applies to every area of life. Motivation is the spark that ignites your enthusiasm, but discipline is the engine that keeps you moving long after the spark fades. When you rely only on motivation, you're gambling on something that comes and goes like the wind. Discipline, however, is steady, reliable, and always within your control. How often have you felt fired up about a new goal, only to find that enthusiasm fading after a few days? Maybe you promised yourself you'd wake up early to work on a project, or you swore to stick to a fitness routine. At first it feels exciting, you're motivated, energized, and ready to conquer the world, but then life happens. You wake up tired, you feel overwhelmed, the initial excitement disappears, and suddenly it's easy to make excuses. That's where discipline comes in. Discipline doesn't care how you feel, it shows up regardless. Imagine this: a bodybuilder doesn't develop strength by lifting weights only when they feel like it. An artist doesn't master their craft by painting only when inspiration strikes. Progress comes from consistency, from doing the work day after day, whether or not you're in the mood. As Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. Motivation might get you started, but discipline ensures you keep going. Think about any great achievement in history. Behind every success story, there's a foundation of discipline. It's the athletes who train even when it's raining, the entrepreneurs who push through setbacks, and the students who study when it would be easier to procrastinate. Discipline is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. There's a common misconception that discipline is harsh or joyless. But discipline isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's not about never slipping up, it's about getting back on track after you do. Discipline doesn't mean you never feel tired or unmotivated. It means you don't let those feelings dictate your actions. You take one step forward, no matter how small, and you keep moving toward your goals. Discipline isn't something you're born with, it's something you develop. It's a skill like any other, and it gets stronger the more you practice it. Start small. Commit to doing one thing consistently, even if it feels insignificant. Maybe it's making your bed every morning, drinking water before your coffee, or spending 10 minutes a day on a personal goal. These small actions may not seem like much, but they build momentum. Over time, they add up to something powerful. Success doesn't come from grand gestures, it comes from the quiet, repetitive actions you take every day. Think of discipline as a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets, and just like a muscle, it might feel uncomfortable at first. But with practice, what once felt hard becomes second nature. The effort turns into a habit, and the habit becomes part of who you are. Discipline equals freedom, says Jocko Willink, a retired Navy SEAL. This idea might seem paradoxical, but it's profoundly true. When you're disciplined, you create the freedom to live the life you want. You free yourself from the chaos of indecision, from the frustration of unfulfilled goals, and from the regret of wasted time. Discipline gives you the power to take control of your future. Let's face it, waiting for motivation is like waiting for perfect weather to go for a run. Some days are sunny and bright, but more often than not, there are clouds, rain, or wind. If you only rely on motivation, you'll spend most of your life standing still, waiting for the perfect conditions that may never come. Discipline, on the other hand, puts on its running shoes no matter the weather. It doesn't wait. It acts. This doesn't mean you should ignore motivation altogether. Motivation is a gift when it comes, and it can provide a valuable boost. But it's not the foundation. Discipline is. Think of motivation as the lighter fluid that gets a fire started, while discipline is the steady supply of logs that keeps it burning. One is temporary, the other is lasting. Discipline is also about setting clear priorities. It's saying yes to the things that matter and no to the distractions that don't. It's understanding that every decision you make, no matter how small, either moves you closer to your goals or further away. Discipline isn't about working nonstop, it's about working smart. It's about focusing your time and energy where it counts. Take inspiration from those who have mastered the art of discipline. Olympic athletes, best-selling authors, and successful entrepreneurs all share one thing in common: they show up, day after day, regardless of how they feel. They don't wait for motivation to strike. They don't let excuses hold them back. They trust the process, knowing that consistency will bring results. There will be days when discipline feels hard. Days when you'd rather stay in bed, skip the workout, or put off the work. In those moments, remind yourself why you started. Think about the future version of yourself who will thank you for the effort you put in today. Think about how much closer you'll be to your goal because you chose to show up. Remember, discipline isn't a punishment, it's a gift. It's the tool that allows you to turn dreams into reality. It's what bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to be. When you choose discipline, you choose growth. You choose progress, you choose success. So the next time you're tempted to wait for motivation, stop. Take action instead. Do one thing, no matter how small, to move yourself forward. The act of doing will create momentum, and that momentum will fuel your journey. Success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who act. Motivation might get you to the gym, but discipline builds the muscle. Whether that muscle is physical strength, mental resilience, or a skill you're trying to master, it's discipline that does the heavy lifting. It's discipline that transforms dreams into achievements. And it's discipline that will carry you through no matter what challenges come your way. Think about this. Have you ever started a workout reluctantly only to feel energized halfway through? Or forced yourself to sit down and work on a project and then found yourself in the zone? That's the magic of action. When you take the first step, even if it's small, it creates momentum. Momentum builds motivation. And suddenly, what felt impossible becomes doable. It's important to understand that discipline isn't about being perfect. You don't have to get everything right all the time. You don't have to feel unstoppable every day. Discipline is about consistency, not perfection. It's about showing up, even if your effort isn't 100%. Because showing up, even imperfectly, is always better than doing nothing. Discipline also doesn't mean you won't have doubts or struggles. Those moments are part of the journey. But discipline helps you push through them. It reminds you that progress is more important than perfection. It reminds you that every small step forward counts. One of the most powerful things about discipline is that it builds confidence. When you consistently act on the mission, you start to trust yourself. You prove to yourself that you can keep your word, that you can handle challenges, and that you can achieve your goals. Confidence isn't built by waiting for the right feelings, it's built by taking action. If you want to accomplish something meaningful, you can't afford to wait for the perfect moment. There is no perfect moment. The perfect moment is the one where you decide to begin. Discipline helps you take that first step, and then the next, and the next. And before you know it, you've built momentum that carries you forward. Here's another truth: discipline simplifies your life. When you're disciplined, you don't waste time debating with yourself. You don't spend hours wondering whether you should start or if you're in the right mood. You just act. You've already decided what matters and you stick to it. That clarity frees up energy for what's truly important. You don't need more motivation to start. You just need to take one small action. Do the first thing. Open the book. Write the first sentence. Lace up your shoes. Whatever it is, just start. The act of starting creates a chain reaction. It shifts your mindset. It tells your brain we're doing this, and from there progress becomes inevitable. Think about the people you admire. The athletes, the entrepreneurs, the artists, the leaders. They didn't get where they are by waiting for the mood to strike. They got there by acting on their mission every single day. They showed up, even when it was hard. They chose discipline over convenience. As Jocko Willink, a former Navy SEAL, says, discipline equals freedom. This isn't just a catchy phrase, it's a way of life. When you're disciplined, you're free to achieve your goals. You're free from regret. You're free from the limits of waiting for motivation. You're free to live the life you've always wanted. So stop waiting for the mood. Stop telling yourself you'll start tomorrow or when you feel ready. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to take the first step. Take action. Act on the mission. Because every great accomplishment begins with a decision to start. Discipline isn't easy, but it's worth it. It's the key to unlocking your potential. It's the path to achieving your dreams. It's what turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. And it all starts with one decision to act. Not when you're in the mood, but because you're on a mission.